It is a hot one out there today, boys and girls, at least if you're where I am. Because it's May and it's starting to heat up, so what better way to beat the heat than to open up some stuff that came in the mail today? And this one is from Kitchener, Ontario, so it's from Canada. I think I know what this is, or at least what it might be. There we are. What could it be? What could it be? Aha, yes. Alright, so this here is another Canadian hockey film, Face Off, which is not the Nicolas Cage and John Travolta film, but it's something that I've wanted to check out. It's from 1971. It's something that, again, if you want to learn about another culture, another country, what better way to do it than with the things that they go nuts for, and in Canada's case it's hockey. But yeah, so not a horror film there, but I think this one is. Yeah, so this one is from Thornhill, Ontario, and that should mean, yep, this one is Piranha 3DD or 3DD or however you say it, and it's the Canadian cover there, which if you've seen the American one, it's just the girl in the bikini or whatever, which, that part's good, but it's like there's barely any piranhas in there and all that, but here you kind of get both, and there's just something kind of menacing about this cover that isn't there in the other one that you may have seen. And also it's rather, for whatever reason, it's pretty hard to find the 3D disc nowadays in the United States, but yeah, so there's our reversible cover in primarily French, and this little middle thing has kind of come loose there. I'll have to figure that out. But yeah, I got our discs there. What did you guys think of this film if you saw it? I really loved the first one of the remake series of Piranha, and honestly, I like this one too. I didn't really get why it got a lot of hate. I don't know. I mean, I think the first one was better, but I mean, I think this one I think was possibly funnier than the first one, but it wasn't as effective as a horror film or as a kind of a animal exploitation film. So let's see. Okay. Oh, nice. Alright, so this one here, I'm glad that this came. Yeah, this one is from, well, it says Glendale Heights, Illinois, but I know for a fact that this came from the, UK Amazon store, and this is Pier Paolo Pasolini's Salò, or the 120 Days of Sodom, probably the most disturbing film I've ever seen in my life. Only seen it twice. Both times I felt like this sense of complete hopelessness, and it's not even like, I mean, it's violent, it's depraved and everything, but it's like it's not like slasher film gory or anything like that. There are far more, viscerally violent films out there. Look no further than something like Cannibal Holocaust, but they're not as nearly as effective as this film, because this film just creates an atmosphere of pure hopelessness. And I'd like to do like a full breakdown of this film at some point, but I got the this one's put out by the British Film Institute. In the United States, it is a Criterion release, and that one is only like one disc, and I guess it's getting harder to find now. But this one has 3 discs, and it's got a lot more in the way of extras than I think even the Criterion version has. I used to have the Criterion version. I like that cover more, but I think this one has just more in the way of features, and you've even got this nice booklet here, which I think, according to what I've heard of, it's been so long since I've had the Criterion version, but this one is more about the actual production of the film instead of, the societal impact or whatever, which is, both of those things are important, and I know that the the special features on this one. They do all, you know, they have features like that where they can talk about the societal impact, because this is a very significant film. It's an extremely controversial film. Definitely not everyone's cup of tea. And it even disturbed me, and I don't really get disturbed very often by things. So, you know, kudos to Pier Paolo Pasolini. This was his last film before he was killed. So, yeah. On that note, moving on to Schaumburg, Illinois. And it's half-price books is the packaging here. So who knows what this could be. Let's see. Oh, goody. Alright, good. I've been waiting for this. So yeah, this is the Green Inferno, which we already saw the autographed slipcover, which I'll replace, you know, I'll take this one off and put that one on, and then I might sell this one. But I think it's a gorgeous slipcover design. It's a great homage to the Amazon cannibal films that I've been watching. This one I watched on Netflix some months ago, and it helped to, you know, give me a good entree into the rest of what the genre has to offer. And, oh, sweet. Okay. Yeah, see, I didn't know this. It actually comes with the soundtrack as the second disc. Yeah, I didn't know that. See, because a lot of these cannibal films, traditionally, like the Italian ones that I've been watching, they have surprisingly really good soundtracks, like funky, like almost disco kind of soundtracks. Not always, but and then there's the original cover. Yeah, they have like really funky kind of disco-y soundtracks, and you know, they're awesome for what they are. But I always found that contrast to be rather amusing. If not that, then they can be like synth scores, and you know, still really awesome. But yeah, that slipcover, I'll probably sell that, and then just you know, put the autograph one on there. All right, and then we got the final box here, which is from Wesley Chapel, Florida, and I'm pretty sure that I know what this one is. This should be like a bunch of, it was like the one of the eBay sellers that I told you about. Yep, one of the eBay sellers I told you about that did, the one that did the buy two get one free deals. Cannot remember the name off the top of my head, but that's why I put it in the description so I wouldn't have to remember. But yeah, like that one, that person sent me these. So let's start it off, shall we? We might as well start off on a high note with one of the biggest cinematic disasters of all time, The Love Guru, which I remembered seeing on Amazon Prime just to see what the big deal was because of how many Razzies it won and everything like that, and they were deserved. They most definitely were. It's funny because this film, like, oh, look at that, it does still come with the digital download code, and the Mike Myers is the Love Guru himself. It's one of those movies that is so, it's bad, believe me, but it is so fascinatingly bad because it has all of the usual Mike Myers comedy tropes that he would explore in his, like, everything from like Austin Powers onward. So it's got like Vern Troyer, it's got, you know, him playing some bizarre character with a weird way of speaking. It's got a lot of, you know, crude humor. It's got, you know, a lot of different bizarre things, but it also, how do I say it? It's like you take all of the bits from, like, let's say the second two Austin Powers, the bits that didn't really work, and you put them all in this film and you multiply it by 100, and that's what you get. But, you know, the funny part is, like, I can tell that there is a unique movie in here somewhere, or a movie that perhaps maybe someone wanted to make, because, you know, there's never really been another movie like this as far as I can tell. you know, it's one of those things that, like, there's this one part where they're kind of satirizing how in the kind of Oprah Winfrey afternoon talk show era, how a lot of the ideas from like Hinduism and Buddhism have become kind of pop culturalized, if that's a word, and dumbed down, and lost all of their original spiritual meaning and become just another fad. Like, there's parts of that are in here. I wish that was the focus, because I think that would be pretty neat to explore. I'm making it sound a lot deeper than it really is, but it's just one of those things that you're like, and it's just this really did make Mike Myers' film career go completely down the toilet, and he's not really eager to do many more movies. Like, he's done a few, but he's actually apparently quite happy doing other things with his life, and obviously he's got the money, so why not? And I mean, he himself has acknowledged how much of a bomb it was and everything, so I mean, as long as he knows it. But yeah, I mean, it's like, you can tell that at one point there was a movie in there somewhere that someone may have wanted to make, and, I do think that if you could make a movie kind of about the, how much ideas from those religions or philosophies, how they kind of get adopted in our very shallow consumerist culture and get dumbed down for the afternoon talk show audience, and then basically lose all their meaning. I think you could do a good movie about that. That one wasn't it, but, I could see some of the initial inklings of that idea. And I am opening up another movie that, for whatever reason, they put the plastic on the top and the bottom there. Anyway, it's Kung Fu Killer, which I think I used to have this film. I never watched it, but I was going through, when I got it, I was going through a big martial arts film phase at the time. And, but I had a bunch of martial arts film, but I just never really got around to watching them, so hopefully I will rectify that mistake. But yeah, I don't know what kind of a great idea it was to, like, is it just me, or do you hate, like, how when they put the plastic, like, here and here in places that it really doesn't need to go? Yeah, it's infuriating. But anyway, yeah, looking forward to Kung Fu Killer, and that's Donnie Yen, who Westerners may know as the one guy, I am the Force and the Force is with me, or whatever it is that he said in Rogue One. Yeah, but yeah, very, very accomplished martial artist. And then, what else do we have? We have this film, which I used to have that I had never watched, was Sweetwater. That if you know where to look, there are a bunch of different kind of independent Western films out there, more than you might realize, which I guess is good, because it's kind of, you're keeping the genre alive, especially when the mainstream doesn't really seem to care about Westerns anymore. But, you get good ones, like Bone Tomahawk was amazing. I think that's a vastly underappreciated film. But this one I managed to find with the slipcover, and that's January Jones from Mad Men, which, she played such a despicable character on that show. One of those characters you love to hate. This one, it looks interesting as well. All Superheroes Must Die. Great title. I've heard, odd, I guess, maybe not so good things, or, it's one of those movies that people don't really talk about, but I mean, it's kind of like with the independent Westerns. Independent superhero films are not as common to, well, these ones are less common to find, just because the mainstream is so obsessed with superheroes right now, which is, as a comic book fan, lifelong comic book fan, that's fine with me, but, it is kind of cool to see what the indie crowd can do with it, even if it's not great. Alright, so we only got two more. This is one that I used to have when I was subscribed to Horror Pack, which I have since re-subscribed. It was Strange Events, and I'm looking forward to watching that finally. if you guys don't already know, Horror Pack, they, you know, it's a service where you sign up either DVDs or Blu-rays, and they send you 4 random ones in the mail every month. And you know, they have a bunch of exclusives, like you know, things like this that they're able to, you know, films that are done by indie filmmakers that, you know, they get to have their work shown to a wider audience. And yeah, there's just a little crack right there. But you also get like a lot of cool special editions and things that you would normally get. I have resubscribed to them, and so as soon as I get my first one, I will I'll share it with all of you. And then last but certainly not least, I don't know if anybody remembers this film, but it's Beginners. It was from 2011 with Ewan McGregor, Melanie Laurent, and Christopher Plummer, and he won Best Supporting Actor for this movie, so that's, I think, why someone would remember it. This is the Canadian edition, but it's in a DVD case, but it has a slipcover, which the just Blu-ray, the American one that I had, yeah, see, it's a DVD case for whatever reason. It was one of those things where this film, like, I remembered loving it when I saw it. I haven't watched it in a long time, but I wanted to watch it again because I remembered loving it. And so let's see. Yeah, there are discs there. The one that I used to have, it didn't come with the DVD. It didn't have a slipcover. No, it did come in a regular Blu-ray case. So this was during that kind of oh yeah, and you can see the French reversible cover there. This was during that time in Blu-ray history where you know, they were kind of, I guess you could call it kind of the growing pains of the formatting, where, you know, some companies were wanting to put out Blu-rays, but they wanted to put them out in DVD cases because I guess people weren't necessarily wanting to adopt so quickly, but who knows. But yeah, very good film, very underappreciated. Definitely going to be watching that again. And that's all for today. So yeah, stay safe. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon, warp factor 5, set phasers to stun, lock our spoils in attack position, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next video.